tariffs, people are saying two different things. One group is saying that the tariffs are reactionary to what people are charging us.
Okay.
But the way they came to these numbers is not that, according to Sagar, who is a conservative and a Trump voter, and Crystal on Breaking Points. Now, this is a bit over my head, but when he breaks down these numbers, it sounds like they're pretty wild.
A big price. From 1789 to 1913, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately the wealthiest it has ever been. So wealthy, in fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money.
Now, the issue is I don't have a problem with tariffs fundamentally. Like, if other countries are charging us something to export stuff there, and they're charging us a tariff, I don't have a problem with that. The issue is not this, though. And Trump makes some good points about the IRS and all that sort of stuff, right? But the math is crazy when you look at it.
Money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem to have? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer, I will tell you.
Anymore.
But they collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do with the money, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens, rather than foreign countries, would start paying the money necessary to run our government.
Now, that's true. 1913, they established the income tax. I don't like the income tax. I think most people don't like the income tax. We're not going back to something here. Okay, so let's let Trump cook, and then you let Sagar.
Likewise, an old-fashioned term that we use, groceries. I used it in the campaign. It's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It sort of says a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof, and I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot. And so we're going to be charging a discount.
That's the most billionaire sentence ever.
So he's talking about this discounted tariff. Okay.
Discounted reciprocal tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less. So how can anybody be upset? They will be, because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. Did
he call the European Union traders?
That's great.
Or traders?
Oh. Yeah,
like we're trading with them, or like they're
enemies.
The European Union, very friendly. They rip us off. It's so sad to see.
It was nearly an hour long, and that chart, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly how the entire world learned about what the tariff rate would be. And I will tell you.
Wait, the fact that Trump was doing this was there's like people in the government going like, oh, that's what we're getting?
Yeah. Oh. So watch how Sagar breaks down this number. Because again, remember, Sagar is a conservative Trump voter. Okay, and listen to him.
That's my boy right
there. Pick this apart.
Okay. So my wife is a trade expert. We were sitting on the couch. We were watching this together, and we both audibly gasped whenever we saw what it actually was. And let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen. It is the craziest thing. Okay, let me take the hyperbole out of it. This is the
tariff charged to the USA on the left, and then USA discounted reciprocal tariff.
Okay, but there's an issue with that.
Okay.
The left numbers, Sagar is going to go on to explain that these are not accurate.
Okay. Most extraordinary tariff action in over a century, probably the single most economically impactful action that a president of the United States has ever made in terms of direct intervention into the economy. So
sounds like we're going to start homesteading, huh? We're going to be all going back to some
farming.
There you have these, quote, U.S. discounted reciprocal trade tariffs that are there on the right. 34% for China, 20% on the European Union, 46% for Vietnam, 32% on Taiwan. Just a side note, Taiwan is listed there as a country, so that's interesting in and of itself. 24% there for Japan, 26% on India, 25% on South Korea, 36% on Thailand, 31% Switzerland. A lot of this is listed as either major U.S. trading partners and or the amount of bilateral trade that we do each year. Now, I want everybody
now, when
to
you see like Sri Lanka, 88%.
What does that mean?
He's going to explain it to us.
Pay attention to the way that the column is designed. It says tariffs charged to the USA, including currency manipulation and trade barriers. So there was immediate discussion of how did they actually find this, how did they come to this list, not only of countries, but actually of the rate themselves. All indications right now is that they literally used either ChatGPT or some Wikipedia form to find the number of countries in the world. A perfect example, let's put this up there on the screen. One of the islands that was listed is the Heard in McDonald's Islands. It's inhabited only by penguins. Yes, it is part of Australia, so they could have just said Australia.
They're ripping us off.
Are they just trolling? Are they goofing? Or is this like AI? Is this like mistakes?
I don't know, bro.
Are they just running the government with AI?
It sounds they're using something.
Some sort of algorithm that's like messing up a little bit.
A little bit.
Yes, the Svalbard, which is what is it? The highest northern.
Maybe his pitch on charging the penguins is like, we charge everyone the same, regardless of race and color. The blacks and the whites, they get the same rate.
Regardless of species.
Place that's populated by humans, I believe. So that is included. Guinea-Bissau. Now, you'll notice the overall regime basically works this way. The tariff is calculated based upon some of this, I'll call it extraordinary math.
Okay. So here's the thing. Here's the thing.
I'm still with the tariffs game.
The issue is not tariffs.
Okay.
The issue is the math that they use to get the tariffs.
Okay. I'm still with them
I
because I,
think
haven't seen the numbers
most people,
Okay.
most Americans, most reasonable, even liberals would be like, oh, they're a reciprocal tariff. We get it.
yet. Yeah.
That's not the issue. Listen to Saga break down the math. Go ahead.
Based upon some of this, I'll call it extraordinary math for now. That extraordinary math comes to a figure, which they, for example, like in the China case, where they come up with this number of some 67%. That number is then divided by 2 because Trump says that we're going to be kind, and that is the quote discounted reciprocal tariff that is being placed.
Now, question: do you think China is charging us 67% on stuff we ship there?
On stuff we ship to China?
Yes. That will be a reciprocal tariff. So remember, he's saying 67% China, we're going to charge them half. It's going to be very nice, very friendly, we're just going to do half. Do you think China is charging the United States 67% on everything we ship over there?
I don't think, I don't know because I don't ship anything to China.
Okay, so hit play.
I'm more interested,
Hit play.
It's probably not great to charge. I would say this: China ships a lot more stuff to us than we ship to them.
Correct.
So from a volume game, I would already assume that we should charge them, that they would charge us more because we're sending less.
Mm-hmm.
And then we would charge them less because they're sending more. So they're at the end of the day, they're probably, in my head,
based on these other countries. Now, in the case where we do actually have a trade surplus, the baseline assumption is that trade surplus is still being impacted by non-trade barriers and or things like currency manipulation, so a baseline of 10%. Now, the reason why that is so extraordinary is that if you'll remember, even during the campaign, Trump had discussed, a 10 or a 20% tariff that would be put into place. That actually would have been less than where we are right now. So let me just go ahead and show you guys, for example, what the current actual tariff is overall. Let's go ahead and put, A6, please, up on the screen. A6 can show you that the current tariff regime, which previously was roughly around 1.5%, is now, quote, off the scale of the graph that we are even showing you. Now, the way that they arrived at this math, as I said, and you really need to buckle in because this is kind of nerdy, but let's go ahead and put A7, please, on the screen. Immediately, people were like, where the hell did this come from? James Surowiecki says this, quote, just figured out where these fake tariff rates come from. They didn't actually calculate tariff rates plus non-tariff barriers, as they said they did. Instead, for every country, they just took our trade deficit with that country and divided it by the country's exports to the United States.
I'm not that fast, so I'm going to read this
You know
next
what a
part.
trade deficit is?
No, actually not. I know what a deficit is.
They don't buy stuff from us.
Oh.
We buy stuff from them. They don't buy stuff from us. So based on the trade deficit, he created these trade tariffs.
And how would you even get a number?
So what's
from
happening
looking
is
at a
like
deficit?
poor countries that don't have money.
Sri Lanka with 88% or
Do you get it now?
yes.
This makes no sense.
That's funny.
Go ahead.
So now they can't buy anything.
For example, we have a 17.9 billion trade deficit with Indonesia. Its exports to us are 28 billion. 17.9 over 28 equals 64.
Okay, so we have a $17.9 billion trade deficit with Indonesia. Exports to us are $28 billion.
Yeah, so we buy 28 billion worth of goods from Indonesia.
Yep, and
they have
they
stuff.
Take 17.
Yeah, and they only buy 17 billion of American stuff. You understand?
Oh, yeah.
So so that percentage is 64%. That's how we came on those numbers.
17.9 is 64% of 28.
Yeah. So it's not they charge us 10%, we charge them 10% back. I think we're all good with
That's
that.
fair, yeah.
That's not what's happening.
I don't even get it.
So poor countries who buy less stuff from us end up getting charged the most.
But how do we even get away with saying 64%? They have a 64% tariff on us.
No. They don't have that's it. That's it. You getting it?
I get you.
There's no 64% tariff. It's a trade deficit.
But that's what he's saying.
That's
saying
what
tariff.
Trump is saying.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's like crazy person behavior.
Yeah.
That's just wrong.
Yeah.
That's not even like remotely right. That's not like, oh.
So people are saying this is so outlandish, this has to be like a negotiation tactic.
He's just trolling.
He's just this can't be real. Like, this is crazy talk.
I'm with that. Trump
I
is a
hope so.
genius.
I hope so. Go ahead and play this.
Yeah.
Let me just briefly explain also why that doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense. The idea behind this is that the trade deficit itself, divided by the number of goods, is somehow an approximation for what a reciprocal tariff is. That is just simply not true. For example, the entire way that this is being sold is, and I wouldn't even blame people if it says reciprocal tariff, for people to say, for example, oh my God, Vietnam charges the United States a 90% tariffs on goods. That's completely not true. Actually, Vietnam just yesterday said that they were going to take all reciprocal tariffs away. This is a baseline assumption.
Look what I did. Got all the tariffs taken away from Vietnam.
They took away their little 5% tariff.
Everyone else should pay attention. Look closely to Vietnam.
Because they were scared to get a 90% tariff.
They'll be treated nicely.
I hope you're right, bro. I hope
that
you're
the mere
right.
existence of a trade deficit with any country in the world, not just China, Japan, South Korea, the manufacturing powerhouses, Mexico, or Canada, which are exempt from this, just by the way. Those are currently still under USMCA standards. The assumption there is that the trade deficit, the mere existence, is one which is against the United States and requires a corrective action known and being classified as a reciprocal tariff. It is not a reciprocal tariff. In fact, it does not even include currency manipulation. There is a case to be made that it is the way that you could roughly approximate it. For China, maybe. We can talk about that a little bit later. But in the interim, what we can tell you is that there is no way to describe this as, like, even saying extraordinary is not,
Does not
capture it.
Yeah.
We are talking about a 54% tariff on China because these tariffs will stack on top of the 301 tariffs that have already been put in place. That's 54% on one of the largest trading partners, I think number 3 for the entire United States of America, not to mention consumer electronics, consumer goods, etc. Vietnam is our number 8 trading partner. The vast majority of retail goods in the textile industry enter the United States from Vietnam. The other
Made in Vietnam.
So remember,
actually
Sagar's wife is a trading expert. So they're watching this and like processing this stuff together.
Yeah.
And again, this is a Trump voter.
Yeah. No, that's crazy.
This is not a lib, right?
You don't know what his wife's trading expert
Oh gosh.
is. We should get it from the trading expert school of liberal arts.
and or capital injection. The rough estimate off the top as of this morning is that this will impact roughly $400 billion worth of goods in the United States, an additional $400 billion. That's what the overall revenue that would raise. You would then have to see a corrective action of roughly, I mean, that's almost half of the original TARP bill going back to 2008 to offset. Now, in the immediate term, what's going to happen is that you are watching a significant amount of these goods that are going to effectively be tariffed at these crazy rates starting tomorrow and next week. Tomorrow and next week is when all of this stuff starts to go into place. As all of that goes into place, the absolute massive shock to the supply chain is going to be extraordinary. Now, the current market reaction, guys, let's go ahead and put that up there. As you guys can see, it's roughly around 3.3% as the S&P 500 right now. The NASDAQ futures down by about 3.84%, etc. The Secretary of the Treasury was pressed immediately after the press conference in the
Hey, look. And that's why Alex Ramosi says, I don't invest in the S&P 500.
I invest in the
SME
SME 500.
Because tariffs will never affect me.
Yeah. So
That's crazy.
now, best case scenario,
Let's talk about it.
this is a negotiating tactic.
Worst case scenario.
Worst case scenario, they're saying these are the same types of tariffs that led to the Great Depression.
So worst case scenario, we're hauling grains.
We're going back to the good old
Wish
days.
you got that Cybertruck.
So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. So Bermuda has a trade surplus with the U.S. We import 45 million, export 6 million. Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. So there's certain countries that yes, they have a surplus, but generally speaking, this is going to potentially impact everybody's pockets, like in the foreseeable future.
Better get that prayer journal while you can.
Well, I just placed an order for more Devos.
Okay.
You know, and this is the part that people don't understand is like made in China. I'm not the biggest fan. I'd rather buy stuff here, but we just tried to go do our jackets here in LA and it was a complete nightmare because the factories don't exist here.
Yeah.
So there's certain things that you can't make here. You cannot make journals and Devos here. You can't print books here. Like all of that stuff was shipped a long time ago. Now, how we got there, different conversation. if you're going to do tariffs on stuff that you can get made in America versus made over there to encourage people to make stuff in America, I'm in 100%. Right? Because now you're penalizing me to go overseas if I can get the same thing. The issue is a lot of this stuff you can't get made here.
Yeah, and I'd also say, like, I don't even know if Americans in a modern society, like I get coming out of the Great Depression, manufacturing, that was awesome. In a modern society, I think a manufacturing job would be close to an Amazon worker.
Yeah.
It would be a McDonald's worker. It would be something that you would discourage your kids. Be like, hey, really got to get your grades up, or you're going to be a manufacturing partner.
You're saying that's how it's viewed now?
I'm saying if we for real brought manufacturing back, that's what it not viewed. That's what it'd be like. Like because there's no upward mobility except for like management, right?
Well, I think the idea is you bring back manufacturing and you pay people a livable wage. And just to correct, thank you so much, Josh, in the
But
chat.
it's literally a cog in the wheel.
Let me just correct this real quick. Josh, thank you so much in the chat. He said tariffs didn't cause the Great Depression; they added to the Great Depression, so they probably accelerated it. So thanks for clarifying. I said that earlier, and I misspoke. That's what's being said. Is like these sorts of tariffs added and accelerated.
Yeah. So I think but I think a trash man. I think trash men. I guess you're saying.
I think people who like build Teslas or build American-made cars
fair.
should make a livable wage. Firefighters, teachers should make a livable wage. I think that's what.
No, that's reasonable. I'm trying to figure out how lowly of a job would manufacturing actually look like, because it probably looks like sitting over a sewing machine, assembly line style. It's not like a craftsman with a leather apron walking through and being like, "Oh, I take pride in my USA made stuff." It looks like this.
Yeah. So here's the thing: if there was a concerted effort to build factories here, while penalizing people going overseas, that would be fine. But as someone that we build stuff, we make stuff, we come up with ideas, and we go, we want to make it, and we wanted to make stuff in America. We've tried to make stuff in America. It's almost impossible to make certain stuff in America. That's the part that I don't know if this move and break things fast approach to this stuff is going to be helpful. Now, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I got an email from one of our manufacturing partners today, and they said our prices are going to remain the same despite this, right? And maybe some of these bigger companies are going to just figure out a way to eat it. But mostly, here's the thing: mostly what you buy on Amazon is people buying stuff overseas, shipping it to Amazon warehouses, and then having Amazon fulfill it. Yeah. Right? All that's going to go up, right? Yeah. Amazon then, shockingly enough, Amazon then goes and buys the same things and cuts you out of the equation and then just has their own Amazon products. Yeah. All of that stuff is going to go on, going to go up in prices.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben just said, you're describing my business. He's like, hey, my 2 part-time employees are happy. I have no problem with that, with crafty things.
Sure.
And I just got an embroidery machine, actually.
Sure.
I'm going to start goofing off.
Yep.
But I will say they're also part-time.
Yeah.
And so what I'm saying is that their parents, whoever they are probably this is a stepping stone job for them.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what manufacturing always should be.
Yep.
But full-time, doing that for full-time, has a different toll on your body.
So D-Version said a lot of Amazon stuff is cheap items from China. That is true. Again, what I'm saying is it's cheap stuff from China.
Cheap Chinese crap is what I call it.
It's not made here.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah, everything.
So you could have stuff made from China and say it's cheap crap from China. And there's a spectrum of stuff you can get from China.
Yeah.
The issue is it's not made here. We sent off all those factory jobs. Have you been through the Midwest and through the what is that called? When we went into the city, Steubenville, Ohio, and all the factory jobs are gone.
And nothing replaced it.
Nothing replaced it.
Those horrifying.
Yeah, the cities are struck with poverty. So that's what I'm saying. I like the heart and the idea behind it. I think the heart and intent is great. But you got to execute, not like it's a freaking Silicon Valley tech startup where you're just moving, I'm just going to do stuff.
Yeah.
And then fix it on the back end. All right. We'll see how the American people rock with this or don't rock with this. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Please be sure to comment below and subscribe and all that good stuff. And check out this other video that YouTube seems to be recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right, I'll see you over there. Peace.